Tell me your name.
Ruth Heath.
Ruth, and how old are you today?
102.
102. So you were born in
1918.
1918. And we were just talking, and I asked you what shape the Earth is, and what did you say? What were you taught in school in elementary school?
I was taught in school that the Earth was flat.
You said that you're religious, that
Yes.
you follow the Bible.
Yes, I do.
And are you aware that the Bible is all about the flat Earth? That God put the Earth on the footstool and separated the waters from the waters, and created the firmament. If you read Genesis, I'm not the Bible guy. I have friends that are so good at it, but there's over 200 verses in the Bible that refer to a flat Earth.
That's right.
And I think there's only one verse that mentions Earth as a circle, but just like this table right here, that table is a circle,
Right.
but it's flat.
That's right.
Right. A circle is different than a sphere. A sphere is the same in every direction.
That's right.
The circle of the Earth. So how does it make you feel to realize that you were right as a kid?
It makes me feel better.
It does make you feel better, right?
Oh, it makes me feel alive.
Oh my God, that is so true. My whole life, I believe,
Yes.
what I was taught.
That's
and then
right.
when I discovered the flat Earth,
I feel better about it.
because we are the center of creation.
That's right.
We are important.
That's right.
I'll give you some good news. A lot of the problems that they report on the news aren't even real.
That's right. That's right.
They're just keeping us in fear.
Keeping up. That's right. That's right.
So what is a flat earther, you might ask? Well, if you don't know what it is, I'm very happy for you, because that means that you know that the Earth is round. It's a sphere, it's a globe. Well, there are some people out there who believe that the Earth is flat. First things first, it is dangerous for anyone to not believe science. I think that we all should be skeptic of the world around us for sure, but not science, not when there's evidence. Okay, so right after the date, I went on my phone and I made a note, and I just wrote down everything that I could remember, because I was like, no one's gonna believe me. I have nothing against the person who set me up with this person, because they didn't know, obviously. We go to happy hour. I always like happy hour for a first date because it's casual. If you don't like the other person, you can like quickly dip and leave. Happy hour, it has like an expiration date, right? As opposed to like a dinner date or just something else, especially for like a first meeting, right? I'm excited, he's cute, he's friendly, maybe a little bit shyer, but like, honestly, I am extroverted enough for the both of us. And it was a really great date for the first 30 minutes. We were chatting, we were talking. I actually had a really great beer. I like specifically remember the fact that I had a really great beer. I wish I could remember exactly what beer that was that I was drinking, but this beer will make an appearance later on in the story. So the flat earther thing did not come up right away. For the first 30 minutes, we were getting along, we were chatting, and then at one point we started to talk about like roommates, and I was like, oh, like where do you live? What part of town are you in? He's like, oh, I'm currently like living with my parents right now. And I asked him about school. At one point I was like, so yeah, I went to CU Boulder in Colorado. Did you go to school at all? Or like, where are you from? And his answer and his attitude towards any type of schooling was very, very interesting. He was like, oh, well, I was homeschooled my whole life, but I bullshit my entire way through it. Like, ha ha ha, I'm so proud of myself that I didn't really get an education. Okay, did you ever go to school at all? And he goes, yeah, I went 1 year from like 8th grade to 9th grade. It was so stupid. That high school is just full of like a bunch of idiots, like 1,400 people, and they're all idiots. Everyone around you was an idiot? Really? Really? That seems a little unlikely, but whatever. It took everything in me during this first half of my beer to not just like burst out laughing. So I was like, if you really like cheated your way through homeschooling, like how did you get an education? Like how do you know things, anything at all? And guess what he said? He educated himself online. I can't believe this. Oh my God. So I'm like, oh, like with like a program or something? And he's like, no, with online forums. great. That's definitely the greatest place to get an education in my opinion when you don't know things like science, but I'll get there. So, the topic of space comes up. I am so interested in space, in stars, comets, astronauts. Neil deGrasse Tyson is amazing, all of that stuff. So I can like talk your ear off about that stuff. And so when he casually brings up that, oh, well, space isn't real, the moon's an illusion. Even saying it is nuts. He thinks the moon is an illusion. And I was like, back up. What do you mean the moon is an illusion? And he's like, oh yeah, I mean, that's not real. Like, haven't you noticed that it looks the same every night? And I'm like, except for the fact that it doesn't. I was trying to explain to him that when you go to a different hemisphere, the moon looks different. How do you explain that if the moon's an illusion, if it's just like hanging there on a string? And he's like, are you sure it looks different? Like, you really remember that it looks different? And I'm like, yes, I lived on a ship for 4 months. One of my teachers was an astronaut. I was just, this is when I was getting a little bit heated. Like, you don't believe in space? I don't even like know what to tell you if you don't believe in space. It's good to be a skeptic about certain things that have scientific evidence. You don't need to be skeptical of scientific evidence because scientists have spent their whole lives making sure that it is that proof. I feel like I'm like back on this date again. This was wild. So then after when I was explaining to him that the moon looked different when I was in a different place in the world and the constellations were moved and shifted downward and I saw different star constellations, and he was like, really, are you sure that happened? You're not just like making that up? And he just kind of like brushed it off, and I'm sitting there like not even done with my first beer yet, like, no, yeah, the stars are real, moon too, they're up there. He's just like, oh wow, NASA, so you believe in NASA. Believe in NASA. I don't even. So I'm staring at this guy, and like the table we were sitting at was kind of like a communal table, so there was like some people a little bit to my left, and I swear when he said that about NASA, like the guy next to me kind of like turned and looked, and I'm just like sitting in my head like, yep, he said that. He goes, oh, well, when you look at NASA, it's got 2 reoccurring letters, A and A. When you take out the 2 reoccurring letters, all that's left is NS. Guess what the NS stands for? National Satanism. He said National Satanism. So then we start to talk about space a little bit more, and he says, oh, you really think that we're on a floating rock right now? I was like, absolutely, I believe, I know that we're on a floating rock right now called Earth. Imagine someone asking you, someone telling you that they don't believe that the sky is blue. Like, I don't know how to like sit there and explain to someone that something that is so apparent and real, and it was just a very challenging conversation. Simmer with that thought. Museums aren't real, soak it in. Feels crazy, right? Feels crazy. Oh, but wait, there's more.
How can I help you?
Yes, ma'am. Is there a sheriff available to?
I can put in a call for service and have somebody give you a call. We don't keep deputies here inside dispatch.
Yeah, is there a phone number or to like the sheriff's office or something?
No, sir. We don't have deputies inside the station. They're all out handling calls, and we don't have anybody here in dispatch.
You know the story about the guy that died, Mad Mike, the rocket launch?
Yes, sir.
How many? Do you know of a sheriff that went out there? We were wanting to talk to. You get a story from him.
Give me information.
Okay, what is it? What is it that you need from that, sir?
Well, pretty much. We're trying to do an internet.
Okay.
We're trying to do an internet story on it.
We don't release any of that information, so that would all come from our PIO.
No information. Sorry, guys.
Ask if they have a suspect, Dave.
man, skeptical that the world is round, died after launching himself into the sky with a home-built rocket.
CBS News has confirmed that daredevil Mad Mike Hughes died after his homemade rocket crashed just after takeoff near Barstow. Sources say the 64-year-old was using the rocket in an attempt to get as close to space as possible.
Back in 2018, Hughes propelled into the sky with a parachute in the Mojave Desert and injured his back that time.
You may have heard of this daredevil Mad Mike Hughes, dead at 64, fatal rocket crash landing. This is going to be a perfect example of how you can't trust anything that you're being told unless pretty much you have first-hand information, or you have people that are trusted to tell you what's going on.
He did not die in the rocket launch. There's no evidence. There's no proof. He will die in his own time with a new name, new identity, new face. Just like the Challenger explosion. Come on. It's the same story over and over. NASA and the Flat Earth Society is NASA. It's the same thing. They're lying. It's a lie story with Mad Mike Hughes. He did not die in the rocket launch.
The main reason that the whole Mad Mike Hughes thing was suspect to me was because he was getting a lot of media attention. Like, flat earthers don't get media attention. But if you're doing a ridiculous publicity stunt that has absolutely no chance of proving anything, that's what gets media attention, because it makes flat earthers look stupid, right?
When I saw him, it appeared that he was at the Flat Earth International Conference to help get funding for this. And there's nothing wrong with that. Even though, are you ready for the lie? He was not a flat earther. And how do I know this? Because I heard it come out of his own mouth as I stood there more than once. Because people were saying, well, why are you here if you're not a flat earther? And he explained he's looking for people to fund him.
Mad Mike Hughes gets the idea to bilk flat earthers for $8,000 to put a sticker on the side of it. Just taking a step back and thinking about that for a second, that is a little bit suspect, because anybody that is a flat earther is going to put flat earth stickers all over the damn thing regardless. That's by default.
He was very honest to do whatever, that he wanted to do and try to prove about the edge of space and things like that. Now, if you're talking about going to space, that should be a red flag right there that he's not a flat earther.
So we started to investigate. We do hear the rumblings throughout the groups of people with, mimicking what we've been saying. We've been saying, there's never been any evidence of Mike in a rocket that's been launched. We've got lots of evidence of Mike faking that he was in the rocket.
I would need to see a continuous, uncut, unedited shot of Mike getting into the rocket and then launching to his death before I will get on board with the bandwagon and agree that he actually was killed in this crash. I mean, I don't know. All I've seen is 30-second clips from the news. If there was somebody in that rocket, I'm sure that they're not living, but my whole point is in order for me to believe that he was in the rocket, I would have to see something more than a 30-second clip on the news of the crash.
Who the coroner was that signed the death certificate for Mad Mike, and where we can get a copy of that. It should be online. It should be on a website. There should be a death certificate, because life insurance policies have to be paid, and mortgages, and all that has to be taken care of when there is a death. So there's got to be some record of this death.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Cops is filmed on location with the men and women of law enforcement. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
You want to tell everybody what happened?
Yeah, of course. So I was just walking my dog in the neighborhood. There were some kids. They were on recess, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids. They weren't really young, 5, 6-year-old, but they were a little bit older, adolescents, like young adults, in my opinion. And then they were coming towards me, and then teachers scared them. The boogeyman with the flat earth flyers is a threat. Don't go near the fence. Everyone needs to run away. And so I just voiced that large bodies of water do not curve a couple times, and I was live on my YouTube channel. And the next day, police showed up at my house, asked me questions about it, and said they were just doing an investigation. And I said, all right, cool. I answered all their questions. And the next day, 4 police showed up at my house and arrested me for disorderly conduct and took me to jail and booked me, fingerprints, mugshot, the whole 9 yards. And everyone in jail was laughing, going, why didn't they just write you a ticket?
Hey guys, real quick. I got a flyer for you. Check it out. I can't give them a flyer. Hey guys, check this out real quick. Space is fake. You're not on a spinning ball. They're gonna teach you, listen guys, they're gonna teach you you live on a spinning ball. That doesn't make it true. It's not real. The floor is not moving 1,000 miles an hour. Okay?
So, my question, Nathan,
on top of
is
that,
did you flat smack the police on the way to the jail?
Oh boy, of course.
Well, actually, I didn't. Once I found out they were arresting me, and then I asked why I was being arrested, and they said, you know why you're being arrested. They didn't read me any of my rights, so I had none of that. They just put me in the back of the car, took me to jail. I actually didn't say anything to any of them because I just didn't want to be loud and boisterous like they thought I was going to be.
Yo guys, let me give you a flyer real quick. Here, I love you. Come take a flyer.
I just went in quietly and calmly, but once I got in there, I definitely talked to all the correctional officers and all the inmates about Flat Earth, and pretty much, I flat smacked everyone in there. There were rumors going on around the jail to where like people would meet me and be like, hey, I heard you're in here for flat smacking a bunch of kids. Or they said sharing Flat Earth with a bunch of kids.
I'm gonna flat smack this. Guys, you don't live on a ball. The earth is flat. I got flyers for you right here. You can check out my YouTube, okay?
So Nathan, you have a hearing coming up in a month. Are you gonna prepare a speech saying, the school system is lying to our kids, all science proves, the earth is flat, only pseudoscience, religious beliefs, are what you're teaching? Are you going to try to make some sort of statement like that?
Yeah, I'd love to. If they'll let me present a case, I will. I'm also, trying to look for a lawyer. If some ACLU attorney wants to take my case, I'd love that, but
some of them picked them up. Hey, give them to the teachers. Hey, you can verify everything on my flyer. Large bodies of water do not curve. Hey guys, you're not on a ball in space. The earth is flat. Large bodies of water do not curve. Okay? Large bodies of water do not curve. Research Flat Earth. That's how you do it right there. Got them all right there. Jeez.
They're trying to silence my First Amendment rights. I mean, I didn't intrude on the school. I was on a public sidewalk, and I just used my First Amendment rights, and they want to arbitrarily decide that that is disorderly conduct.
Make sure you red pill the youth. That's why they get them when they're young.
If you're just tuning in, you just missed me flat smacking like probably 400 kids. So that was cool.
Hey, Nathan, you ought to hook up with those case dismissed guaranteed guys. They're flat earth lawyers.
Yeah, I will. I will look into them. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways to flat smack. I'm not 100% positive that going to a school is the best way to do it. But like you said, he was on the sidewalk. He's yelling at them. They have every right not to listen. But disorderly conduct, I don't know about that.
Yeah, technically he was well within his rights. You know, whether people think it's morally right or wrong, I mean, he was well within his rights on public property. And, you know, there's no law against elevating your voice. So
I've been wanting to flat smack this school for a while. You know what? I might come back when they get out of school and they're all waiting for the bus and walking home and stuff, because I just feel called. Maybe I'll go live in an hour again.
C'est mon nouveau chauffe-eau. Je l'ai loué chez Hydro-Solutions. Tu peux louer un chauffe-eau? Je savais pas. Il y a beaucoup de choses que tu sais pas. La terre est ronde. Hein? J'achète ça pour rien.
Beer number 2, I was in. I was like, I'm gonna ask these questions. Clearly I'm not into this guy. This is just gonna be one of those experiences that I tell people about. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Gravity is, you know, keeping us on this earth. Like, how do you explain that? He says he doesn't believe in gravity. Gravity is a myth. And I'm sitting there, and this is with my second beer in my hand, and I do this. I go, okay, here. And I touched his arm with my beer. I said, did you feel that? And he goes, yeah. I go, all right. And then I hold my beer above his head, and I go, if I were to drop this beer on you from up here, it would feel a little different, huh? It would splatter all over the place. How do you explain that? That's gravity. And he goes, that's not gravity, that's just common sense. What? What are you talking about? That's common sense. Oh my God, it was, I just like wish I had some type of like secret hidden camera, because the amount of seriousness in his face was just like looking at me. Like he believed this. Like it was. So then on the topic of gravity is when I said, well, gravity is what's keeping us on this earth, keeping us from falling off and going to this space that you don't believe in. And he goes, well, no, the earth is flat, so that's why gravity like is just a total myth. And I'm like, okay, you're a flat earther. Is that what you are? And he's just like, well, yeah, I mean, like, so who told you that the earth is not flat? And I was like, scientists, books, every person on the planet. It's very dangerous to be this uninformed. I like I said, conspiracy theories are cool. Be a skeptic of certain things. The earth is round, people. And to quote Philip DeFranco, don't be stupid. Like, come on. I'm heated, I'm sweaty. I wanna finish my beer now. And yeah, that's my story for you. I went on a date with a flat earther. I don't regret it, not at all. It was a perspective I had never seen before, nothing that I've ever been introduced to, and it's always just fun to try everything once, right?
The surface of water is 100% flat because I have a water level right here, which proves that this is a lie and that this is exactly where you have to break the spell. Okay, Michael, you are a low-level globe enthusiast that you know you mean well. Okay, now look, you just asked me how, and I said right here, and I said I'm going to keep bringing it up to show people this is where they have to break the spell. This is a water level, a spirit level, and we use surface of water to tell us what flat is. So every time, and I've put it in front of your face, that we use the surface of water to tell us what flat is, and this is the instrument that proves it. Break the spell that he's trying to say. He's trying to tell you, excuse me,
How does
please.
that prove it?
I am speaking.
Oh, yeah,
he's
you
trying
keep
to
interrupting
tell
me.
you
I can
that this
ask,
instrument
how does that
not
prove
work?
it? What is the method you use to prove water is flat using that level?
The tool itself, okay? uses the surface of water to tell us what flat is. And now, don't interrupt me.
Where's the flat?
Oh, excuse me. Okay, look, what do we have to do here? What do we have to do? Okay, so listen, you're done. Let me speak. I did not assert nothing. I have you. You know you are cornered so much right now, okay? Now I'm telling you. Look, hey, look. Do you see the water in this? Do you see the water in this?
It's a little.
You're asking me,
It's a little
where are
wavy.
my measurements? Where are my measurements?
It's a little wavy.
You know what the measurement is? There's about 8 liters of water in this. Let me speak. Let me speak. Don't mock me when I'm speaking and try to cut me off.
Could you put that water level in the container of water to measure how flat it is?
No.
Oh, well, how are you measuring the flatness of that water? I thought that level was going to measure the flatness. Like you put it down in there and then it measures the flatness. How do you measure the flatness of that water?
Okay, so here we go again with like a stupid question in order to confuse people. Whenever like a globetrotter is faced with like real science that they haven't like gone over and researched and don't know properly, they have to hide it from everybody. Look, let me show you again. Let me show everyone. Here's another container, okay?
I hope you have measurements of this one.
Look. Yeah.
But where's the measurement of flatness?
Yeah. You see what he's holding up? He's holding up pen and paper from 100-year-old dead guys and saying, "Hey, I have a diagram and stuff like that." And it's
I have real measurements from 2 different people that are alive.
You have nothing. I'm killing you right now because I have this water. Man. Look.
Why do you think that the earth is flat? If you were to like dig straight through, what do you think would happen? And then he goes, oh, well, like the ground is just like full of ones and zeros. Like I believe we're in a simulation, like something closer to the Matrix.
I just flat smacked a kid who just got off the school bus and I didn't have my camera, so I couldn't record it. The earth is flat. Let's see if I can get him at the stop sign. Let's go, Gio. We're gonna flat smack the kids at the stop sign. Hey guys, the earth is flat. Large bodies of water don't curve. Hey, the earth is flat. They're lying to the kids. So I'm an activist from California. I got arrested last week for telling kids the earth is flat. Later, guys. Have a good day. Research flat earth. Kids in the van.
Thank you. I'm amazed. I'm so happy to know it's true.
It's true, and God created this world. And he's right here in the clouds above, close, not in an infinite universe. So good, right?
I can't get over it. Made me cry.
Made me cry too.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Ruth, give me a hug. Here we go.
I need it.